Favorite quote of the week, or maybe not favored. It's frankly disgusting the way the press is able to write whatever they want to write. People should look into it.
That's a disturbing quote, because essentially, if you listen to it closely, what he's saying is the press shouldn't be able to write what it wants to write.
You can take any way, you can take it any way you want.
But I'm asking you, because you don't want it to be fake news. I want to hear it from President Trump.
You don't have to ask me.
Why not?
Because I have my own opinions, you can have your own opinions.
But I want to know your opinions. You're the President of the United States.
It's never been like this. The president, uses bullying tactics, and he intimidates people, and he at his press conferences, he picks out reporters and he says, I'm not going to ask you to ask a question because your news organization is terrible and you're fake news. So there's never been anything like this before coming out of the United States president's office.
The fake news campaign has taken the world by storm, the main leader being President Donald J. Trump. He has led vicious attacks on the media that have both been recorded and reported. Trump has called out entire news organizations, calling them fake news on numerous occasions. As time passed, these attacks have gotten more and more vicious. As his fights with the media continue, we must ask, is Trump infringing on our First Amendment rights? Is freedom of the press at stake?
They don't know if it's true or false, because they're not involved. I'm involved.
Labeling of major news organizations as fake news, calling stories fake news, belittling reporters, and a general, reaction, a constant reaction on Twitter to stories that the president himself personally doesn't like.
Do you apologize?
Do I apologize for reading your words?
For not reading my words. No. For not reading my words. No, do you apologize for not reading my words?
The attack on the free press by the president, the relentless talking about how if it's fake news, if it's a story or something that is critical of him or criticizes him, and so then he just says it's fake news is a giant step in the wrong direction for the First Amendment. It's very, very concerning.
If you want to discover the source of the division in our country, look no further than the fake news and the crooked media.
The president understands how people across the country feel about the media, and he's very expert at exploiting that.
CNN and MSNBC are fake news. Fake news.
I'm interested in trying to explain him. He's a difficult guy to explain, and his fights with the media are troubling to anyone who cares about the First Amendment. But I try to really just focus more, now that he's president, on what he's doing and whether his ideas will help people or not.
A colleague who I covered the campaign with, Ashley Parker, and I did a briefing for the DC Bureau to explain to them what to expect. And I think I would still say the same things, which are, he will repeatedly say things that aren't true. You need to be prepared to hear him say something completely different the next day. Be careful what you put in writing to him, because his aides, because they will use it against you. Assume that your calls are being taped with them.
The public doesn't believe you people anymore. Now, maybe I had something to do with that. I don't know. But they don't believe you. If you were straight and really told it like it is how...
I know how to handle myself, and I've been threatened in the past. So I think for some of the younger reporters, less experienced reporters, I think it was kind of daunting to see. And it's hard to stand there, you think about it, any occupation, to stand there and do your job and have people look you right in the eye and curse at you and tell you you're horrible and you're a liar. So it's a challenge for some reporters emotionally. For me, it's more of a practical challenge. I want to cover him and his supporters. I don't want to be part of the story. And when the supporters are making you part of the story, that's hard to navigate around.
Reporters that I supervised or just know from other news organizations were often threatened and felt, I think as the president called reporters scum and bad people and lowlifes and all of that, the crowds would turn on the press corps and scream at them. And there obviously among those Trump supporters is a very strong feeling that is anti-press.
Down there and you interview her. Give her the respect she needs. If you're not here to interview military, leave. Leave. You're here about Hillary Clinton. We're here about Trump and our military. Leave. I'm here about Trump as well. No, you're here about justice. Because you don't have a heart.
The weekend of the Access Hollywood tape, when Trump was in his apartment, he came downstairs and went out into this impromptu rally outside. And that was a little scary. That was the first time I really remember personally feeling afraid, but it was really because he seemed sort of capable of anything because he was really wounded at that moment.
Again, it goes back to sort of the meanness and the crassness. And I think that somehow, sort of the tweets to folks in Puerto Rico, that makes it very, very difficult because there's a lack of generosity of spirit and a meanness that makes it very difficult to be objective.
Frankly disgusting the way the press is able to write whatever they want to write.
That's the line I would draw, where I would be more concerned. I don't care about the name calling. The name calling is part of the shtick, it's part of the environment, it's the surround sound of this presidency. Fine, we're big boys and big girls and we can take it. What would be disturbing is if that then trails into actual changes in our ability to do our job. And what the president said yesterday wasn't just, it's disgusting they can write what they write. What he said was we should take away licenses from broadcasters who publish or print or broadcast things that they don't agree with. That is more disturbing.
As Trump's fights with the media escalate, we must ask ourselves, is Trump infringing on our First Amendment rights? Is freedom of the press at stake?